Hello, beautiful friends. I'm Meg of megburtontudman.com. I'm so glad you're here today, and you're in the right place if you are seeking confidence in your own skin. I am thrilled to be joined by Marye Lobb. Marye is a dear friend of mine as well as an outstanding musician. She is working on her fourth album right now. What I love about Marye's music is the juxtaposition of themes. So hanging on and letting go, wandering abroad and coming home, the joy of discovery and the pain of loss. There's just such power in the message of her songs and in her music. She also recently launched a program called Song Detox, which is amazing. And she shares in that program her creative process with others. So I'm sure we'll chat more about that as we get into this. But Marye, welcome. I'm so happy that you're here.
Thank you, Meg. It's so wonderful to be here. Thank you for having me.
Of course, absolutely. So let's dive right in. We were chatting before I clicked record today about the connection between music and confidence in your own skin. And I think it's a powerful one. So when you think about feeling confident in your own skin, what does that mean for you? What comes up for you?
I love this question. I think it makes me think about a lot of different things. But first, I think, self-love, loving yourself, being honest with yourself. And I think in terms of how that relates to singing, I think that, and songwriting, especially writing your own music,
Yes.
It kind of automatically tells you. And that's just the beautiful power of music. And singing has always helped me in like the most challenging moments of my life, to just give me answers and give me confidence actually, to do whatever it is I need to do. And some of those moments have been very challenging, and but singing gives me that purpose. I don't know what I would do without it, honestly.
I love that. That makes my heart sing. I love that idea of songwriting and singing as a way to help you process whatever you're going through, whether it be something really challenging or, I suspect at the same time, something like worth celebrating, something really good. I think whether the emotion is more enjoyable or less so, it still can hold that same purpose, that same tool as a way to help you process and continue to move forward in some way. Have you found that to be true?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, big time.
Love that. So cool. So talk to us a little bit about your actual process. When you write songs, when you create music, what's the process that you go through?
Yeah, I've been getting this question a lot lately, and it's a long process. So I think a lot of times when you're an artist, people are like, "Oh, you just it just kind of comes out." But for me, like there's a lot of prep work involved to kind of get in the mind state. So an ideal songwriting day would look like this. I would get up, I'd go for a run, like just get my body moving, right? Because that just brings great energy, kind of gets me out of my head. And then I'll sit down, I'll meditate for kind of like however long. And when I say meditate, I just like sit and I focus on my breath. That's kind of it. I do my best. I'm not an expert meditator, but it makes me feel good.
Yeah, that's the point, right?
Then I do like the affirmations, the visualizations, and I journal for a little bit. And so the journal writing process is not the writing process. It's actually the process before you start getting specific. So usually when I write in my journal, it's just like, let me meet myself where I am, whatever I'm thinking, whatever I'm feeling, let me write it down. If there's a book called The Artist's Way, and she talks about the morning pages, right? So that's like 3 pages every morning to just kind of get out what's ever on your mind, so that you can actually, after that, get to like the thick of it. And then like yesterday I was writing and I wanted to talk about the moon because I took this picture of the moon over the weekend, and like, so I started just like looking up moon on the internet and then like learning more about it. And then I'll go and I'll sit down at the piano. I'll do my vocal warm-ups. Yeah, it could totally be the piano, the guitar, the ukulele. Right now I'm just really like feeling the piano. And then I'll pick a key. And then I'll just start singing and see what comes out.
Yeah.
But it's interesting, you know, you try to be very open to whatever it is. And it's just kind of like an idea that's passing through you that you got to entertain.
Right.
And then you try not to judge it afterwards. And then you're like, okay, well, I'll go through with this tomorrow. I usually try to have about 4-hour blocks. And I try to do it like right now. I'm very intensely working on my 4th album.
Great.
And I'll try to do that like 4 or 5 times a week, like those 4 hours where I'm just
Right.
So
Really
so that's like the daily structure, and then the overall picture is that first I'll be writing a bridge, first I'll be writing a verse, then a chorus, then a bridge, then another verse. So yeah, usually takes a week or 2. Who knows? Or maybe I'll go back to it. Like, so it's fun.
I love the upfront work that's involved, because I think, most people aren't privy to what an artist's, routine is or habits are before they actually sit down to work. And I love that connection between moving the body, getting the mind in the right place. I think that's so powerful. Not only for artists, but really for anyone else. I mean, imagine if your morning routine every day included some of those elements. And again, it's going to be what works for one is going to be different than what works for another. I'm not going to go for a run in the morning, but I might do a yoga practice instead.
Right.
But I love that idea of like getting your blood flowing, getting your body moving, and then like tuning into what's happening inside. So the meditation, the visualization, the affirmations, and the journaling too, to start to get things out in order to move forward. And again, like we chatted about a few minutes ago, in order to process what is actually happening, like what is in the thick of it that needs to kind of be massaged or worked out so that you can figure out what's happening for you.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah. I think that's so cool. I love that. What a great routine. Very, very cool. Talk to us a little bit about, if you would, the juxtaposition of themes that you cover in your music, because I think that's so powerful from a confidence standpoint. I think sometimes there's a misconception that when you're confident, it's because everything is working exactly as you want it, and everything is like rainbows and roses and sunshine and butterflies. I think that we can be confident even when we're going through really difficult times. And as I said in the beginning, what I love about your music is that juxtaposition of themes where you would think, well, you can't, have one and the other at the same time. But really, I think through your music, you can have, you've illustrated that you can have both and be better for it. So can you chat with us a little bit about that juxtaposition of themes and how that comes to be for you?
It's very nice to have your perspective, because I'm like, oh yeah, I guess that's true. Yeah, I do that. Yeah. I made a decision pretty early on that I would always be honest in my writing. Mm-hmm. Like I had to, like, that was just really important to me. Therefore, I'm able to say and feel exactly what it is that I'm feeling. And there's so much freedom in that. And I think that's just the human experience. Like, we feel both things at the same time. And I think within my music, I found peace with that. And it's true. Like I'm going through it right now, just as you, just as you are saying that. So it's, I think that's just the human experience. And then my music is reflecting that.
What do you think allowed you to have the confidence, and also I think there's an element of drive too, although that might not quite be the right word, but to be so honest in your writing? Because I think a lot of us, we almost wear different masks for different, groups of people. So it's challenging sometimes to be our true authentic selves. And not only are you being your true authentic self, but you're putting it out there for the world. So it's not as if it's just like kind of that, well, my close friends and family get to see that side of me. It's everybody. It's out there for everybody, I think, to benefit from. But what allowed you to bring that honesty to your work?
Yeah, there's a few different components of my answer to that question. First I want to say, like, it's not easy.
Right. Yes.
And it is an ongoing process, right? And I know that it will always be a process. I had a performance last week, and I was really, really honest, and I almost felt like a little too honest. I was like too honest before I was even ready. But I learned from that, right? So you have to listen to yourself, and you have to know, like, okay, I'm ready to share this, but I'm not quite ready to share this. And I had an amazing response. Wonderful, and people were very moved by it, and it clearly resonated, right?
Right.
And so I have a lot of different responses, and I'm like, okay, so, but so that's the key to me, is that I see music as a form of service. I see it as a way to help people. Those are my objectives before every show or every client I work with. My mantra and my goal is to make people feel loved and people to feel understood.
I love that.
And that's it. I'm like, okay, as long as I'm achieving that, then I'm good.
Right.
And so that's just the forefront of everything. And if you are honest with what it is, you're just gonna get you're gonna connect and to people who need it. Mm-hmm. And then there are going to be people who don't need it. And my music is not light and fluffy.
There's some deep,
or it's not like a show tune, it's very thought provoking. It's deep. It's not, and I had an older gentleman come up to me, and he said, you have such a beautiful voice. Could you please play something happy?
Wow. What was your response?
I'm trying to be a little, in terms of, I'm trying to not be sweet, nice all the time, and if something makes me uncomfortable, I kind of speak up. So I was just like, okay, thank you. And I kind of just walked away, and I didn't feel I had to entertain him. Nice. But that is not the first time it's happened to me, at all. And that's going to happen, and that's fine. It made him uncomfortable to feel things. My music will make you feel things. So if you're ready to have emotions move through you, that's my job, and that's what will happen. So listen to my music. If you're not ready, I wouldn't recommend listening to my music.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think what at the end of the day is kind of how do you want to serve? So for me, I actually studied social work before music. That was my intent. And then I started playing all this music when I lived in South America. And I was like, oh, what if music could help people? So that's really kind of my overall vision. And that's what drives me. Absolutely.
Yeah, I love that so much. And I want to touch on something because I think it's so important in general, but especially from a confidence standpoint. When someone says something to you that could be taken as a criticism, could be taken as a suggestion. I mean, part of that for sure is your mindset around it. But, you know, I love your response about, I just chose not to entertain it. And I think there's such empowerment and freedom when we make a conscious choice about whether or not we're going to entertain something that someone else says or does. And I think taking that power and holding on to it to say, it's my choice whether I let that in and, you know, become part of me, or whether I just say thank you and, you know, smile and move on. And I think that making that choice to not entertain is phenomenal. I think that's a really powerful suggestion and message. So kudos.
Yeah, because it's just going to continue to come up, right? I know that's it'll keep happening.
Right.
So I will continue to not entertain it, right?
I love that. That's so great. I would love to chat with you because I think I'm not alone in this. For the people who think that they cannot sing, can you chat with us a little bit about your response or your message to that idea?
Yes. Because I have people tell me that all the time, and it really hurts my heart. Like it makes me so sad, because music is like a human right. I mean, so a lot of my story is I lived in South America. I lived in the south of Chile, and that's kind of like the seed of when I decided to start kind of pursuing it as a career. And it was the relationship that I saw people had with music. It was just this way of life. They'd wake up in the morning, they'd be singing. They'd, you know, pick up a guitar, everyone would sing along. And I just so fell in love with how music was a part of their life. And singing is so good for you. Like, don't ever, ever deny yourself that right to sing. It is a human right. I mean, it releases endorphins. It builds your self-confidence. It allows you to connect with people in a way that in such a deeper way than having conversation, which is, I love conversation, but I mean, like, singing is so good for you. And and it's your opportunity to express your unique voice. Like, no voice is the same.
Right.
And you shouldn't sound like any other voice. You should sound like you.
Right.
And I think, you know, all of my work of studying the voice, really what got me through and like inspired me was so that I could find my own unique voice. So I could find my own sound. And like that discovery and exploration that's lifelong, never ends.
Right.
It's so fun.
Yeah,
like,
absolutely.
It's so exciting, you know? Like,
it's a journey.
What was that?
It's such a journey, that exploration of figuring out, you know, who am I? What do I want to be? How do I express myself? Whether it's through song or something else, still is, I mean, to your point earlier, it's a lifelong journey. I don't think it ever ends, but what power there to explore that and to give yourself the space and the freedom to dive in and see what works, and at the same time to see what doesn't work, so you can kind of push that to the side and focus on the things that are really serving you in a positive way.
Yeah, absolutely. It feels so good. Try it. Don't be afraid.
All right. So what would you, if you were giving advice to somebody who is not a musician,
okay,
but is open to feeling and is open to exploring, you know, this part of themselves, what's the best, maybe top tip that you would give them to get started?
In terms of singing,
just
put on your favorite song. I mean, that's how I've worked with students for years. You know, I've had a private teaching studio that's now a music school, but that's how I always work with my students. I'm like, okay, what is your favorite song? We're going to figure out how you can play that like right away. Like, just get to joy as soon as possible. You can learn all the technical stuff later, but like get to like what makes you feel alive, what makes you feel happy first. So whatever your favorite song is, put it on and start singing along. If that song feels a little too challenging for your voice, find your next favorite song. Okay. Like, don't like, and when those thoughts and feelings come up, you don't need to entertain them, or you can like sit with them, acknowledge them, but move on to the next. Like just try to find whatever makes you feel good. And then lip trills are a wonderful exercise.
What is that?
So I would recommend, like, once you kind of feel good with the melody and the words of your favorite song, you can, and also if you can't hit certain notes, the song just might not be in your key. Okay. You might need to change, make it lower or higher. So again, don't get discouraged. Like there's so many different elements, right? But I would recommend the lip trill is, so you want to take a nice breath, and then it's almost like you imagine singing the melody, but this is a lip trill.
Oh, cool. Like a refined raspberry that we give to babies.
Yes, refined raspberry.
For the non-musicians.
So can you try it? I'm putting you on the spot.
Okay.
Yeah, very good. Very good.
Well, that feels good. You can feel everything settle.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's nice.
I recommend just going through your song on a lip trill.
Oh, cool. All right, I'm going to experiment with that. That sounds
so that's a good place to start.
Cool. What is the biggest challenge that you're seeing from students and maybe also from clients too with the Song Detox? That might be two different questions. But what's the biggest challenge that you're seeing?
I think like the fear of digging in.
Mm-hmm.
And it's scary. So I totally get it. But I think either way, like for a student, if you're learning something new and it's hard, or for a Song Detox client, if things come up that are scary, you know, or maybe you're not quite ready to address certain feelings, that can be challenging. So I think, and I've gone through that myself too. And some songs are easier to write than others. But I think the biggest response to that fear and anxiety is that, you know, there is another side and you can get through it. And believing in yourself that you can get to the other side is really key in everything that you do. Like, okay, I can do this. It might be a little tricky, might be a little scary, but just kind of having that self-belief and love for yourself.
I love the self-love piece. I think that's so important no matter what, but especially when fear comes up, when you're trying something new. I mean, without a doubt, that compassion for yourself is so powerful and so helpful too.
Yeah, and just staying patient with yourself and like, okay, well, I'll just continue to try this. But I think that is the joy of it, right?
Yeah, seeing what comes out on the other side.
Right, and just like just sitting there with yourself and like being patient and not really giving up.
Right. Yeah, you answered my next question perfectly too. I was going to say, what's the advice then that you would give when that fear presents itself? And I think the patience is key. The self-compassion, the self-love, and being patient, knowing that it's coming.
Yeah, and you know, I think sitting with your fear too, like just acknowledge, like be with it, acknowledge it. Okay, what is scaring me right now? What is making me feel anxious? And okay, well, that I don't need to worry about that. You know what I mean? Just kind of like talking to it, like, and then it will pass, and then you can have fun.
I love that. Yes, absolutely. Talk to us, Marye, what is on the horizon for you? What's coming up in your world?
Sure. So the two big things are my fourth album. I'm about seven songs in.
Congrats, that's amazing.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, it's really exciting. I shared 4 of them at my last concert, so that was like the first time live. And you can find that concert on my Facebook page. Actually, I did a Facebook Live of it, so everyone could tune in. So that's exciting, and just I want to write a lot of songs and then like kind of pick the best, but it definitely let me know what you think of them and if they resonate with you. I feel like in my past albums I haven't really like shared until I release it, and I feel differently this time because I really want to hear people's reactions kind of as I'm writing. So feel free to participate in the conversation and let me know what is helpful to you, because again, I want my songs to be of service. And so that's exciting. So I'm still, thinking about the arrangements, and, it is definitely going to be a full band album. I'll have 3 other musicians with me, I think. But I'm interviewing producers and kind of, thinking about, but I'm very, very excited to make this album. It's important, and it's exciting. So, and then Song Detox is a big project that is new and exciting, and I'm just thrilled to be working with people in this capacity.
Yeah, can you talk to us a little bit more about what the Song Detox program entails, what it's all about?
Sure. Yeah. So I want to give a little bit of a story of how the idea came alive, basically. And so when I first moved to New York City, after finishing, I went to Berklee College of Music in Boston, and after finishing, I started working right away, teaching privately. And then it just, I never asked for the work, but it just kind of snowballed, and I kept getting a lot of work working with people one-on-one that way. And it's been great. I now have 2 other people who are teaching for me, and we have a little music school, and it's awesome. But I decided that I wanted to work with people to help them work through their emotions. And that really came to light after my 3rd tour for my 3rd album, which was last summer. I did a house concert tour all over the US, and it was an amazing, lovely, lovely experience. I wrote my 3rd album, Top of the Trees, in honor of my father, who passed away in 2013. And he was this awesome, larger than life, wonderful, wonderful person. We had a great relationship. And so I wanted to tell his story on my tour. And I, like, right before my 2nd song, I'd be like, Top of the Trees is for my dad. And, he passed away. And so I really felt it was important to tell the story, not as much for myself, although it was very healing for me to tell my story, but more because I wanted people to be able to see themselves in me, in my story. And just kind of, it's a human experience that so many, that we all go through, right? So I didn't expect the responses from people, and how many just would tell me like their life story and their and very, very personal, challenging things, but also so inspiring to see that strength that people have within themselves. And that totally changed me. I loved those conversations after my performances, and was like, I want more of that. Like, that is a thread that I want to follow. I want to help people in this way. Like, clearly the music is moving something through them. And, you know, I have after 10 years of writing, because my first album came out 10 years ago this summer, I've really fine-tuned my process in how I write. And so I decided I really want to share this with people. And so it's helped me through so many different things. And so basically the program is structured. It's 6 sessions. And so the first session, we write your verse, right? So that's like your question or your problem, right? And then the second session is your chorus, which is like the answer or solution to your problem. The third session is your bridge, which again is still the solution to your problem, because our problems are always the same problem, but they're just manifesting themselves in different ways, right? Mass. Like, we're always like struggling with like the same thing, basically. Right?
There's a lesson to be learned, and until you learn it, it keeps coming around.
Well, right. So my bridge is the mantra. It's like, okay, what am I going to continue to tell myself every time this arises so that I can really get to the other side of this?
Right.
And then the fourth session is your second verse. So you get to explore the problem a little bit more. Like, how does it look differently when it comes up again? And then the fifth session, I do a basic music theory, really kind of depending on your level of musicianship. You actually don't even have to sing. Like, some people wrote poetry, wrote poems. So depending on your level, I'll give like a basic music theory so that you can do this on your own. Like, after the program, like, you can go write a whole album if you want, you know? And then the sixth session is editing. So, and I think editing is really important because it's about how you want to tell your story. And you take everything that you wrote, and if there are parts of what you wrote that just like you're not comfortable with, then we let them go. And the whole point, like, I want clients to walk away feeling empowered, and feeling strong, and feeling that their story is like one of triumph, you know, like, you got to the other side of whatever it is that you're working through. And so we structure it in the way that how I explain my creative process at the beginning, like the first 5 minutes. So it's like a very condensed version of what I do, right? So it's first 5 minutes are meditation, next 5 minutes journaling, and then we'll go to the piano. I'll play some chords, and then you just start to sing or talk and kind of just let the subconscious take the lead, and you will be amazed as what comes out.
I love that. I love using that as a tool to address, what keeps happening for you, and how else could you look at it? What's the mantra that you could put in place so that, what's happening for you is different, and you're more empowered to deal with what comes your way. I think to me, it's so unique, being a non-musician, but to use song and music as a way to process what's happening for you, I think is really empowering and very neat.
Yeah, and it's different from it's therapeutic. It's not therapy. I'm not a licensed therapist. I'm not a licensed music therapist. I think they're all amazing. But I'm an artist sharing my creative process, right? And it's different because you get to tap into things that you wouldn't be able to just having like a conversation. A lot of things that you'll probably be scared to say out loud, you will. Right. We'll just sing through you. Right. And also you have something to show at the end of it. You have this tangible thing that you made, which I think again is, as humans, we just want to make things and it's so satisfying.
Yeah. It's so satisfying too.
Yeah.
Have this great skill to, for people who are watching, because I hear this a lot from my own clients, when we talk about creativity. And I think a lot of people think, oh, I'm not creative. And I disagree, much like you disagree with, oh, I can't sing. That's creativity is the same for me. In that regard, everybody is creative. To your point, everybody can sing. And it may look and feel and sound completely different than the person next to you. And that's exactly how it should be. But what I love about your program and just the way you connect and interact with people, I think you have this innate skill that allows people to be comfortable so that they can draw out, what are the lines that are going to make sense here? What could my new mantra be? And let me apply that to the bridge. And, let me look at this problem maybe through a different lens, and let me maybe let go of some of the filters. And again, to your point, can I just sing through it? Or can I play music through it? Or can I write poetry through it? Or whatever comes up, for a client of yours in Song Detox. There's so much power there, I think, for really incredible transformations to come through. And I love that about you and about the program as well.
And it's fun.
Right.
Like, it's just, music is so fun. It's so, and you may be working through these really intense things, and but it's still fun at the same time. Like, we can still laugh and right. Really have an enjoyable experience, because that's just the awesome power of music.
Right. And how great to work through something really difficult and to still have fun at the same time. Who wouldn't want that?
Yeah.
I love it. Marye, thank you so much. I've loved having you here today. Tell us how people can find you. So if they're interested in listening to some of your music, buying your CDs, checking out Song Detox, how can we find you?
Sure. If you want to listen to my music, I'm on on SoundCloud, Spotify, all the streaming, Amazon, CD Baby, if you want to purchase CDs or digital downloads. And then my website, which I just recently updated. I moved on over to Squarespace, but you can visit my website, which is maryelobb.com. And if you're interested in working with me for Song Detox, or hiring in my band for a private event, you can contact me there. So I look forward to connecting. And then I'm also on Facebook and Instagram.
Okay, perfect. I will include all of that in the description for the video. So friends, if you missed anything in that quick description, not to worry, just look down below. If you liked this video, Marye and I would be so grateful for a thumbs up and even for a share. And if you want more of some of my favorite people, as well as some guided meditations and some ways to reset your mindset, I would be so grateful if you subscribe to the channel. I'd love to connect with you that way. Marye, again, thank you so much. I think this is such a unique and powerful way of looking at confidence, and I'm so grateful for your sharing your message with us today.
Thank you for having me, Meg. It's been such a wonderful time.
Oh, it's my pleasure.